Good afternoon, David.
Good afternoon, Davey. How you doing?
No bad. Did you enjoy the John Drummond show last night?
I did actually.
Uh,
I thought it was an unusual experience. You've experienced things like that in the past, but I've never done it. Usually, what I experience is I'm talking to you and I've got comments coming up, right? I've never been in a situation where someone has interviewed me.
Aye, got in the situation, aye.
Yeah. So
Right now, listen, I did make a promise to John last night that I would play something for our audience today. So I'm going to bring it up. I'm going to play it while the audience gets on board. Okay. Is it up, David?
black screen at the moment. Can you press play?
Yep.
That's all from us. Now it's time for the news where you are. The news where you are comes after the news where we are. The news where we are is the news. It comes first. The news where you are is the news where you are. It comes after. We do not have the news where you are. The news where you are may be news to you, but it is not news to us. The news may be international, national, or regional. The news where we are may be international news. The news where you are is never international news. Where you are is not international. The news where you are comes after the international and national news. The news where you are may be national news or regional news. However, national news where you are is not national news where we are. It is the news where you are. If the news where you are is national news, it is only national where you are. The news where we are is national wherever you are. On Saturdays, there is no news where you are. In fact, there is no news where you are on Saturdays. Any news there is not where you are. It is where we are. If there is news where you are, but not where we are, it will wait until Sunday. After the news where you are comes the weather. The weather where you are is not national. The weather where you are comes after the news where you are, and after the weather where you are comes the national weather. Do not confuse the national weather with the weather where you are. The weather where you are comes first, but is lesser weather than the national weather. Extreme weather is news. However, weather that is more extreme where you are than where we are is not news. Weather that is extreme where we are is news, even if extreme weather where we are is only average weather where you are. On average, weather where you are is more extreme than weather where we are. Tough shit. Good.
Here is the lesson. I hope John Drummond appreciates that one. So
Aye.
I think a lot of us have heard it before, but it's a fact of the difference of perception. Yeah, between news. If you put on BBC at 6 o'clock, you've got the main BBC news, which is English news, simple as that. And then you wait for the Scottish news to come on at 6:30. And that's it.
And then we get the UK weather and then the regional weather, they call it. Thanks very much, Patricia.
Thank you, Patricia.
Anyway, it's the Two Davies on the 3rd of May 2023. Welcome aboard, folks. Now, it is a silly season, David, so we're just plucking stories out of thin air, really. But some of them are quite serious. The main story you can on the news, as we know, is our Sunak and these 100 licences and how stupid it is. Cross-party MPs and Lords petitioning Grant Sharp to ditch the Rosebank oil field for you going ahead. It's just the usual pish. We've tried to pick out things that are really of substance to people's lives. And the first one we're going to go on is maybe Stockholm and the horrific idea of placing people in prison ships.
It's a horrible situation that I never thought I'd see as prison ships anywhere in around the British Isles. You know, prison ships are something that you see in America, right? You don't see them here. You never saw them in the past. And these poor people that are refugees, I don't care if you want to call them illegal migrants, they are refugees as far as I'm concerned until it's proven otherwise. So therefore, why we're putting them on this prison ship? And then we've got the situation with the fire officers going in and going, this is a blooming death trap.
Aye. That's so, actually, the Home Office is called the Fire Brigade in, because the Fire Brigade are refusing to sign off on this place is fit for human habitation. Yeah. Never mind the fact it's only meant to hold 250 people, they're up to 415, I think it is. But it's basically a floating prison. But it does get worse, folks. The Home Office has just spent millions of pounds in buying marquees.
Yeah.
They're going to house them in tents.
Yeah.
Concentration camps dotting up round the countryside.
Yeah.
Because that's basically what we're talking about here. Good on the Fire Brigade for standing up and saying, no, we're no signing up on this.
If this was allowed to continue, can you envisage a situation where they would take maybe a egg muck or rum, you know, the wee tiny islands that we have on the west coast, and literally get all the normal inhabitants moved off or back to the mainland or whatever, and create that as a prison island? You know what I mean?
I think the Australians do that, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Oh no, they've recently given it up because of all the cases and humanitarian grounds that were going through in the court.
Yeah, of course they're getting called a bunch of nasty bastards. Simple as that. That's what it comes down to. The people, the Australian government were getting called a bunch of nasty bastards, and eventually they went, oh well, we better stop doing that. Yeah.
There was a human rights issues. They weren't getting proper medical and things like that on the island we were on them on. But could I see this mob trying to pull a stunt like that?
Yeah.
Aye, of course.
Yeah, but they do it quite happily.
But the story last week was that Suella Braverman had bought marquees. Yeah. Right. Now, this baby Stockholm prison bloody ship. Is it just you and I that can see these things for what they are?
Well, I'm sure other people see them for what they are. It's just that you and I have got the benefit of being able to go on this channel and say how we feel about it, so that's it,
Aye.
But, it's something that needs stopped. The English government, the English Tory government, needs to be stopped in their bloody tracks on this one.
Aye, we'll get to a related story after this next one, eh?
Yeah.
Anyway, the Jeremy Vine show. Now, what did you make never mind the topic, but the topic was more important. What this guy was floating, the idea that they're putting out there because they're influencers.
Yeah.
Right? Mm. The idea the guy was putting out there was to close down debate and a protest. As we know it, we already know that protest in England is effectively being shut down.
Yeah.
They want to move it into the workplace and close down debate in the workplace. Now, Jeremy Vine, his show is a rank show. He's a horrible person, but these people are influencers. They've got big influence on people. Now, what his suggestion is, the companies should crack down on people talking about politics at work because he used Scottish independence supporters or support for Scottish independence or debate for Scottish independence in the workplace as being divisive, and bosses should maybe sack people for debating in the workplace. We're talking about politics in the workplace.
If we look at this as a real issue, right? In most of the offices that I've seen I've been in, if people started to get angry and argumentative in those workplaces, they'd be holding the carpet. And if it continued, the person would end up with a third letter and they'd be off ski. It's as simple as that.
If it was a real argument that they couldn't drop or agree to disagree on, yep.
Yeah.
But I mean, what you remember these guys, this guy's an influencer. Because you can't call him a news reporter or anything like that. He's an influencer.
Yeah.
And he's floating the idea that workplaces should introduce rules to ban people to talk to each other about things like politics. I mean, politics covers a wide range of subjects.
Yes.
You know.
But people tend to watch the TV and they'll discuss the politics of the day.
Aye.
Politics of the day today, as we've seen, is either Mr. Trump getting locked up or whatever is going to happen to him, and Bibi Stockholm. These are the two important things that the mainstream media are shoving towards us. Yeah.
Aye. Which brings us to the loony media, because it's a silly season. Chain gangs, David.
Yes.
Tell me, GB News have been at it again.
Let's put the illegal migrants to use while we're sorting out whether they're staying or going to Rwanda. We'll shove them into the blooming fields and turn them into fruit pickers, right? That's it. You're on a fucking chain gang. What was that, right?
It sounds a bit like 30 P.O.E. Anderson, David. You know, he wants to round them up, put them in marquees. Guess who's just bought marquees? The Home Office. He wants them up at 6 in the morning, picking fruit, and back in bed at 6 at night.
And I'll bet you soon that's got fucking shares in it.
There is a serious note to this, David. This was floated that this might have to happen after Brexit. I actually spoke about this, and you know, the idea that was being floated then, just after Brexit, was you round up all the young unemployed, put them into blocks, and then rent them out. And block, you know, workhouses. They were talking about modern day workhouses. Can you not remember that? It's quite recent.
Yeah, but we also had that in national service after the war. All the young lads that were turning into hooligans and all the rest of it, they thought, oh well, let's blooming do the national service. Did it help them? I don't know.
I don't know what were damaged by it actually, David.
Yeah. So.
No.
But
I mean, this idea that GB News is floating, that you get the migrants on the prison ships and the migrants and the marquees and the concentration camps to go and pick fruit and veg.
It was under a banner of, should we allow them to work whilst we sort out their status? That was a whole
David, it's a super chat. Thank you very much, Dylan. And it says, how does GB News and right-wing gammon media get away with lying? What they're doing is they're hiding it behind opinion.
Same as BBC do.
Aye, they're hiding it behind opinion pieces.
Yeah.
So it's not being attributed to the station. It's the people who the station are allowing on to speak. But as I say, the reason why I brought this one up is because it was floated just after Brexit. But it had nothing to do with migrants at the time, because I don't think the Monties had thought about the fact that the reciprocal agreement that they had with Europe to return migrants would go away at with Brexit. I don't think they thought any of this through, to be honest with you.
This is something that all of a sudden they're having to try and grab a hold of. And some numpty on GB News, but, oh, well, let's put them into the fields picking fruit. Well, okay, yes, there is a lack of workers to pick the fruit in these fields. I agree. I absolutely agree. That happened because of Brexit. A lot of the people that would have come here seasonally, let's have summer in Britain and pick some fruit and have a fun, we'll drink a bit of wine, they're not there anymore.
The class action just made me laugh there. GB News presenter demanded yesterday that the SAS invade France to kill people traffickers. But that's what we're talking about. That's the sort of crap level this stuff is. But it is silly season, so we just have a play around today. You know,
silly season, right?
Anyway,
the latest one in that is what was it? Was it a fly net that was hoisted over the top of Rishi Sunak's house? And,
protesters in the roof of Sunak's house. Maybe somebody will suggest the SAS go and take him out. What was that? Oh, you, David?
Dreadful. How on earth could they have managed to get on top of Rishi Sunak's house without somebody taking a pot shot?
Absolutely disgraceful. Anyway, Hamilton Rutherglen West by-election confirmed it's on. Right. The SNP candidate is Cathy Loudon. She is a local councillor at the moment for Cambuslang East. So she knows the local area, she knows the constituency, she knows the local people. The media are still, the first thing the media did with her was asking about the SNP finances, you know what I mean? She has to bounce that back with. I think voters are going to be more interested in the cost of living crisis. You know? But what they're going to do is they're going to try and go on Scottish national politics and local politics. That's what rather than being fought on the things that she wants to talk about after all, it's a Westminster election. So you're going to Westminster to try and tackle problems in the economy, which would be the cost of living crisis and things like that.
The mainstream media will back Labour to get this one.
Aye. It's going to be a hell of a fight for the activists in the area.
You have to understand that, and BBC and all the rest of it.
Thank you, Caroline. That's very, very generous of you.
Thanks, Caroline. Will always work against the SNP where they can, and therefore it looks likely that Labour are going to have a bit of a lift here, right? But that's by-elections. In I've got a wee theory that by-elections tend not to favour the incumbent.
Aye, we had it last night. Yeah. And you're right. But I mean, because of what it is, they're going to talk about a backward step for the SNP. People don't want independence is going to be multiplied. So there is a fight to the life in that constituency going on. And like Anne's going up on Saturday for Les Mahego to help. We fought for the SNP, you know. We're going to try and get as much feet as they can on the ground there. Talk to people.
I wish Cathy Loudon the very best. I mean, don't get me wrong. I was sitting here and pontificating on this, but I really do wish Cathy Loudon the very best. But I've got this little theory that by-elections generally go against the incumbent. Margaret, we'll get to that in a wee bit.
Anyway, Bernard Ponsonby demands to know if Nicola Sturgeon was an asset or a liability. I'll answer that for you, Bernard. Know what you like to watch. Asset is the word. Yeah. Greatest stateswoman on the planet at this point in time.
She just wrote a thing for the Evening Times, came out, I think it was Tuesday, I'm sure it was Tuesday, about the actions of Rishi Sunak and the licenses that you're going in for oil and gas extraction. Now, to be honest with you, it's one of the best pieces of writing I've seen. Never mind it being a politician, I'm talking about just a piece of writing done. She's brilliant at writing. She really is. What about Nicholas Sturgeon?
5 miles Nicholas Sturgeon is the smartest politician on the planet.
Yeah.
I mean the planet. You know. Anyway, so as we say, the by-election, we've spoke about it. Let's move on. Oh, we're cracking through this today. Ian Livingston.
Might be finished in 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's all right. I can always play that video again. Anyway, Ian Livingston said SNP finance probe should be brought to an end as soon as possible.
And the headline that's up is, the sooner the SNP investigation ends, the better.
Now this comes, David, as you know, the reason why this is being wound up now is because of an FOI that went in for, I think it was a national in front of it, asking if the police had made any submissions to the Crown Office or Procurator of Fiscal Service, Crown Office and Procurator of Fiscal Service, to bring charges against any of the 3 people that have been arrested and then released without charge. And the answer to that was no. So it looks as if they've come to the end of the road here, which is a little bit faster, or they're getting to the end of the road, which is a little bit faster than what we thought. They thought they might be going to try and smear a lot more people in the SNP.
It now needs taken in hand by the SNP Green leadership and made into a political, which it always was, into a political thing, whereby the politicians are saying, right, shit or get off the bloody pot, Crown Office, and that's it. And then after they do get off the pot, there should be a public inquiry into how this investigation came about, because if it is political, if it was political, and it has been pushed for 2 years,
Caroline, that is awfully generous.
And it's been pushed for 2 years, I think somebody somewhere has to pay for that. Must roll.
The other side of that is, if, as we know, it only took us 5 minutes to Google the rules on how political parties spend their money. We know that. We spoke about this last time, right? So, surely Police Scotland should have Googled it. And then they should have turned around to these people saying, bugger off, there's no case to answer here. Instead, it's cost 668,000 quid out of the public purse. So the idiots that made the complaint who are going to end up with egg in their faces have took £668,000 and all that police time and manpower out of the public services.
Yeah, well, it does go further than that. I was told by an ex-police officer that both you and I know that the police that were up here doing that were from London. And okay, we have seen police coming up from Wales and from London and all the rest of it and various things. But I just find it very, very strange that I had to be London police that were actually brought up here, Met police that were brought up here to deal with that. Yeah?
Right. Now, folks, if you haven't seen Daily Blaze's channel, have a look. It's brilliant. Yeah,
it's brilliant. Absolutely superb. Check it out. The guy, I'll give it a thumbs up. The guy is absolutely brand new. How's about that?
Double thumbs up. You're getting real support the other day. Now, let's move on, David, because this one's quite interesting. That is, Scottish Government throws the CFD and Clean Energy auction 22 million quid to the public purse to try and keep people interested in building wind farms and further investment in Scotland's renewable energy. Now, what's basically happening with these auctions is the government's guaranteeing a price for their electricity over a period of time. Right. Now, but the people who were investing in this industry here in Scotland are taking a step back because the Westminster government has just put a windfall tax on clean energy.
And yet again, we've got our government that are having to blooming shove money into the pot in order to mitigate a windfall tax. Yes?
Well, yes. It's madness. Now, we've got Sunak with 100 more licences. As you pointed out, David, there's a new deep shaft coal mine opened up in Cumbria.
Yeah.
Where is this green credibility? You know, they don't get it, do they? We only have one planet, one!
Yeah.
And we're supposed to leave it in a better condition for our children than it was left in for us. I have to say, David, I'm Gen X, you're the tail end of the boomers.
Yeah.
So, the planet was left in a good nick to us. It was left in a good condition to us. It was us that drove this consumerism.
Aye, well.
It's up to us to bloody well fix it.
Can I tell you something? If net zero is December the 31st, 2050, I can assure you, the time that we'll start building that towards net zero, it'll be December the 28th, 2050. And then they'll apologise for missing the fucking target. There you go.
But 2050 is too late anyway. The climate scientists telling us that.
Yeah.
And Sunak's crap about, jobs, money in the economy, better use marine resources than elsewhere. It's not a resource. They licensed it out to big business. It's their fucking resource. We have to buy it back.
Yeah. The simple way, a guy that I don't like was Anthony Wedgwood Benn, who was that energy minister back in the 1970s.
The one that hid the oil.
Yeah, he came out with all sorts of good things, but there was one that I thought was interesting. Was at the time they had to accept, the oil companies had to accept the taxation that was going on, and I can't remember if it was BP or Exxon or one of these companies that went, no, we're not accepting that. They went, fine, okay, we'll get somebody else to do it, right? And they were back at the table within a few days. And what he said was, after the fact, this is him talking about it after the fact, he said, what you've got to do is just take them right to the edge and be prepared to walk away. And that's what gets them. And we should be doing the same. We could do the same. See those licenses. They don't sell them the seabed. They license it. The reason they license it is dead simple. They allow the government who's controlling the seabed to actually control that, to have basically an ability to be able to say, no, you're not doing that, off you go, right? So having control of the licenses also gives them control of any discussions with the oil companies and gas companies. They could say, fill our bucket first, at this price. You can stipulate a price. At this price, you'd have to figure out something that was fair, right? And then you can continue. If you don't, you're off-ski.
As I say, but it's more about the tax regime that George Osborne put in place. They don't pay any bloody tax. And what tax they pay is coming through what they call the unknown area, so it's not every to any part of the UK. So it's just 46 billion a year thrown into the treasury with no mention of it in anybody's books. We know it's there, but we're not supposed to talk about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, you get right doing it. What they're doing with these auctions is they're basically guaranteeing that the people who are buying or who are building these wind farms, whether it's onshore or offshore, a set price for X number of years, normally 10, for the amount for the energy they're producing.
Yeah.
So basically, we're having to mitigate the windfall tax on green energy because new projects are stopped being built.
Yeah. It's probably one of the most important things that we can cherish is our renewables industry, because if that doesn't go ahead, then the oil is maybe not going to run out.
Thanks, Alistair.
But people worldwide
Very generous of you.
Are turning away from oil and gas. It's a worldwide movement. Most of you, I hope, are into the fight for the climate crisis, right? So oil and gas is really on the bad side of that. Renewables is really important going forward. That's a bridge to the future.
But hey, no, as I say, there isn't any green credentials. They're going backwards, and they don't give a damn. It's a quick buck at any cost, and it doesn't matter about the future.
Yeah, the Grant Sharps the other day there, he says it would be mad policy not to grant domestic oil and gas licenses, insisting it is the only sensible policy to pursue during the transition to net zero.
Aye, transition. We don't have up to 2050. Too late.
Yeah. So just
we'll go to the end of the decade to get this in hand.
Yeah. When are they going to start the transition? When's that going to happen?
Well, they'll know because they're putting green energy levies, green energy windfall taxes on green energy producers. So new producers are not coming into the game.
Yeah. Yes.
We've just heard the Scottish government's having to bribe them.
Yeah, and what about the big wind farm, the big sea wind farm that Sweden was building for England? It was going to be
That's right, they pulled out, aye.
one of the biggest in the world. And that was it. Because of the deal that the British government were doing was ridiculously bad, the Swedish firm said, no, we can't do it. Something like that.
They have money.
Yeah.
So it would appear that the Westminster government are greenwashing.
Yeah.
They're saying they're going to do, but they're doing the absolute opposite. But we don't expect anything else at Tories.
Yeah.
And we won't get any better for Starmer either.
Yeah.
Now we're back on the loony. We're back on silly season again. So come on, David. The loony paper, the Express. Come on, tell us what's got as a headline.
Oh, hang on a second. Let's actually see if we can put this up, because this is good. Where we are. No, it's a Guardian. Which one was it, David?
It's the SNP propaganda, spending money propaganda.
Taxpayers' money on campaigning. There we are. There. Right, I'll just open that up.
Now, we've already cleared this one up, but we better tell you what the progress is on it.
Yeah. It's Humza Yousaf discussing his hopes for Scottish independence. No, I don't want that. It's the one where I'm calling it Yousaf and found all the roots. Sorry, David, it's blinked on at the wrong blooming thing. Anyway, yeah, so let's just talk it through. We both know what it is anyway.
The Rag the Express is the UK's top civil servant, Simon Case, probes into SNP West spending on independence. Now, this is a non-story. And it's a non-story because, as we explained this before, but we'll do it again. But we're talking about this to highlight, not just it's silly season, the fact that what's in the Scottish news is blatant rubbish.
Yeah.
Now, we've already done this, but here we go again.
Yeah. Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has backed an investigation launched by Simon Case into the Scottish Government's use of civil servants to write papers making the case for independence.
Right, here we go. Extracts from submission dated 26th of February 2020 to the Cabinet Secretary for the Constitution, Europe and External Affairs, document 4. The law officers, in their opinion of the 6th of December 2019, confirmed ministers can lawfully undertake policy development work, preparing proposals for independence, and in calling for a transfer of power. This question has already been answered.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a list of where everybody that was tagged into this email. And you get the Deputy Director, Scottish Legal Director, the Lord Advocate, the Solicitor General. So this question's already been asked.
Yeah, but you've still got the Daily Express story by Kieran McGrath 7 hours ago, right? And it's it's basically what they're doing is they're trying to overrun that. He'll know about that you just read out. He'll know exactly.
I know. That's what I'm going to get to. It's taking a wee bit more sinister. It's taking a wee sinister twist and sense. Rather than just leaving it, because that's the legal opinion now, they're going to change the rules.
Yeah.
They're going to change the civil service working practices rules.
Yeah.
So that civil servants working for the Scottish Government cannot work on prospectuses for independence.
Can you tell me, hand on heart, did Boris Johnson not get the civil service to write stuff for Brexit?
No, he didn't actually. And Brexit won, so they're an example for us. The civil service were churning out stuff on Brexit, despite Boris's government.
Yeah.
Because, let's face it, the civil servants had done the analysis, they knew what the truth was. The OBR had done the analysis, they knew what the truth was. The Bank of England done the analysis, they all knew that Brexit was going to be a disaster.
Mm-hmm.
We had a bunch of con men managed to con the population of England and Wales.
Yeah. So anyway, just to finish up on that, this is from Tom Harris of all people, right? Humza Yousaf's use of public funds to push for Scottish independence is completely unjustifiable. And it is right that the UK government's most senior civil servant is probing the situation, a former shadow minister has said. Tom Harris was speaking after Prime Minister Rishi Sunak backed the investigation launched by Simon Case, the head of the civil service, recently.
But it's interesting the way that was worded, probing the situation, because they already have the answer. I've just read it out.
I know.
Scottish ministers can spend as much public money as they want. It's to be elected to spend the Scottish public's money.
But yeah,
to be elected on a prospectus to
yeah, there we go. A story released 7 hours ago by the Daily Express, saying outrage over SNP's taxpayer-funded independence propaganda, with Yusuf facing new probe.
Yusuf's not facing nothing. Simon Case and that mob down there are looking at changing the goalposts so that they can legally stop the people of Scotland, or the civil service in Scotland, helping the Scottish government in Scotland fill out its manifesto pledges. This is what you call undermining democracy, and this is what you call oppression.
Yeah.
The government and Holyrood was voted in.
David, of the civil service, do you think been involved in Rishi Sunak's 100 new licences? Surely that's against what the majority of people in the country want. They surely don't want these new oil fields opened up, do they? You know, I
imagine the majority don't.
Yeah. So
this it's taken a sinister turn.
Yeah.
It's been pointed out to them that legally, the Scottish government can do this because they're fulfilling a manifesto pledge, and they've been voted into power by the Scottish people who spend Scottish money. Right? What they're trying to do is find a way to change the rules so that the Scottish government can use the civil service.
Thank you, Alistair.
Can use the civil service here in Scotland to fulfil the government's manifesto pledge.
Right, so, Alistair, David, just we need to do this because it's a super chat. £2 that
I'm putting up.
Muscular union network, it will only get worse.
Aye. But they told us in 2014 what they were going to do.
Yeah.
And the way the Scotland Act and the Internal Market Act are written, this is them working, using these two acts in tandem. Using the Scotland Act to block block laws being put through, and the Internal Market Act to stop laws being put in place as well. They are stripping the power out of the Holyrood Parliament. And that's why independence is the only way forward for us. Our democracy is being ignored. Our rights are being undermined. Our government's being undermined. It's not nice to watch.
Yeah, it should not be. We should be able to literally just switch these people off and go, right, that's it. It's a done deal. You've taken it too far. Enough's enough. We're on our own.
But
right?
David, there's going to be a democratic event to make that happen.
I know.
And that democratic event is going to be the next election.
Yeah.
So, winning that Hamilton by-election is going to put the wind right up them if the SNP can win it.
Struthers Brown, thank you. That's
super. Very much, Struthers. Very generous of you.
£10 and it's three soul tiles in a row.
Yep. I just think you bloody jump. I know why you jump. People keep adding more comments. Thanks very much, folks. You're very, very generous today.
Can we?
All right, and let's go on to something that's really, really serious, and it is one of the most serious stories that's out there at the moment. Shall we?
Dover. Yeah, or Brexit. Let's encompass the whole thing.
Right, well, let's put some meat in the bones before we get into it. Okay, UK Brexit checks on fresh foods from the EU kicked down the road. Again, UK Prime Minister, he comes under attack from UK food and drink industry, who have had checks on their goods going into the EU since January 2021, and they're claiming that they're at an unfair advantage because exporters into the UK can flood the market and they can't get their goods out, you know what I mean? But the reason, this is the interesting bit, right? Apart from the dangers, we'll get to the dangers of keep kicking these checks down the road in a minute. But the reason stated, and this is for the Guardian, but apparently the reason stated, because to introduce the checks at this point in time would have detrimental effects to commodity prices and would be inflationary.
And it would, no, but and it would, the moment you shrink the availability of stuff, the price goes up. When things become rarer to get, it gets more. It's like lithium for producing batteries. If it's a rare earth mineral, then obviously the price of it goes up as it gets rarer and rarer.
We get the concept, David. You know, we get the concept. But the point is, now inflation has come down the last couple of months, the baseline. But as I said, the reason why I thought it would settle about 8.7 about this throughout this year was because these checks were supposed to be coming in. I had factored this into my equation, whereas they hadn't. And I've been stating this all along, that they hadn't factored this into the equation. Now they've realised and went, oh no, we can't put these checks in place.
Now guys, there is a website for the Border Force. I do suggest that you look it up because it tells you what the latest thinking is. And it's just looking at it and they're going, the game's a bogey. The whole Brexit game's a bogey. And what they're doing is they're just trying to keep things going. They know fine well it's going to fall apart.
But here's the thing. Even if they can get inflation down, when these checks do come in, there's going to be a hell of an inflationary bounce.
Yeah, of course there is.
Because we're going to see a dry up of certain commodities. And when they're available, they're going to be bloody sky high.
Yeah.
Now, when we take into the situation, when it comes to foods, now we're sending meats out to be butchered because we don't have enough butchers because of Brexit.
Yeah.
Right, working in the big plants to cut up the animals that goes in our shelves and things like that. So,
plus the fact it costs, plus the fact that it costs more to export frozen meat. You know, the actual transport method is much more. You've got a freezer on wheels. Yeah.
But anyway, we're actually exporting into Europe to get this stuff butchered, and then we're importing it back. So there's a double whammy on the food price. Because you've got the cost sending it out, and they're doing the checks, remember? And then you get the cost coming in, and there'll be checks, right? But here's the thing. At the moment, they're just waving these trucks through. We don't know what's coming back. It might not be what we're sending out. And when it gets to us, the quality of it, I mean, as we already know, when they did the checks, 21 and 22 food carrying trucks were pounded, you know. What was in the back wasn't what was on the lines and things like that. So how much of this junk is getting in? And then, of course, there's the smuggling. The rise of goods that are available on the black market, you know. They're just sending truckloads of it. They're not even worried about hiding it behind stuff anymore. They're just sending it in. David,
can we just pop up what John Wardrop said? It's about 10 of the comments down. John Wardrop bought grapes 2 days ago. Half of them were rotten. You see it, David? Yeah.
We're seeing more and more of that. So you've read it out.
Can you pop it up, please?
I can't find it.
Oh, it's
David, you.
Okay. Anyway, all right. John says he bought grapes 2 days ago.
Just bloody well read it out. We know about that.
Right, okay. I'm finding the same thing. I'm finding that when I do the shopping for the house, right, and I'm finding when I go to buy stuff, the use by date is now only a day or a couple of days in the future.
That's because it's taking a long to get to you.
That's precisely it. That's the point.
But that's got, as I say, when they introduce these checks, because they are going to have to come in. I mean, so they might get their inflation down to 5% by December now. But You know, if these checks had come in, there's no chance. And that's why they booted it down the road.
Mm-hmm.
But there are other concerns here. What's going on the supermarket shelves if it's not being checked? I mean, we're talking about fruit and vegetables. We basically know what they are. They're just getting here so late that when you buy them, you get them home, you have to throw them in the bin before you can consume the whole, the fruit or the veg.
But didn't we have a local government checks and balances from the local council? Yeah, didn't we in the past have a wee department in each council that went out and checked the local burger joint if they were running properly and all the rest of it? Aren't they the ones that are supposed to go out and check for it?
No. You're sitting in a truck of fucking meats, especially mixed meats. They're going to have to verify that each of these types of meats are what they're supposed to be, what they tell you they are. They're supposed to be veterinary checks to make sure what's coming in is a fit for consumption.
Yeah.
There's none of that stuff going on.
Yeah, I know.
They're just being weighed through.
Yeah.
So we could be sending out top quality beef to be butchered because we don't have butchers here. And they could be sending us back mutton for all we know.
Yeah.
So they did any checks. Mm-hmm. This is dangerous, folks. This is dangerous stuff. And here's another wee news flash. When we talk about commodity prices getting higher, UK farmers have planted 22% less crops this year, and they intend to bring it down by 20% more next year, which means that even foods that are being grown here are going to shoot up in price. By the way, folks, these are all facts. Go and check with the National Farmers Union. You know, these are facts.
Oh, but they'll have illegal migrants to go and pick fruit. Yeah, that's
serious stuff. These checks being kicked down the line because they can't afford the inflationary pressures. Because the UK couldn't absorb the inflationary pressures at this point in time and put these checks on. They don't have the staff. They don't have the systems. Nothing. Yeah. But you've got to remember, at the other side of that, there is risk to public health.
Yeah.
What foods, consignments that are coming in, the driver gets up to customs goes straight through, don't worry about it, doesn't matter what's on the back is what it's meant to be, or if it's maggot-ridden crap.
Yeah.
You know. So, this is dangerous stuff that the UK government's doing. Really dangerous stuff. Because although EU standards are very, very high, not everybody in the EU is a scrupulous businessman. Well, you're sending a prime Scottish beef to be cut, and you're sending you back a kufi from Romania. You know what I mean? And then making the money to sign in the prime cut. We really don't know anymore.
It's all getting a wee bit drastic, and there is nothing being done about it because I've kept up with the Border Force website, and to be honest with you, they just don't know whether it's New York or New Year.
The first thing you should see in that Border Force website is positions vacant, and there's a list of all the different people that they need.
Right.
We don't have enough veterinary staff in the UK to be able to do these checks.
Mm-hmm.
It was being shared across the continent because we were in the EU. So see, this is dangerous stuff. And food security, I did a video on it. It's like just a checklist of what we're seeing happening now. It's just that when I was talking about this stuff just after the Brexit vote, you know, it's been kicked down the line. It's coming. But here we go. It's been kicked down the line again. Why? Because the UK economy couldn't take the shock. The inflationary pressures of putting on these checks.
The thing is, though, we've got one single article in the Guardian, right?
Aye.
Saying UK Brexit checks on fresh food from EU delayed for the 5th time, reports say.
It's not delayed, it's been kicked into the long grass again.
But they're not attacking the Tory government enough over this. The Tory government should have their feet nailed to the floor and made to say, what's the plan? How are you going to deal with this? Rishi Sunak is paid how much to the French government to stop people coming across in small boats?
Oh, it must be about $500 million now.
And the French police stand on the beach and go, on you go, right? And they're trying to do a negotiation with the French side to sort things out that's coming through our way, right? That's not a plan. That's not a plan.
Anyways, this is dangerous stuff, folks. You don't know what the foodstuffs you're buying is anymore. As I've just explained, because we are having to export and then import the same stuff back again, allegedly the same stuff.
Yeah.
Here in Scotland, we've got very, very strict rules on how we produce our meat, and it's called from the farm to the plate. And every animal is given a passport, and it follows that passport from the farm to the abattoir, to whoever buys it, and then to the end retailer of that product.
Yeah.
But we are shipping this out to be butchered. When it's coming back, is it what we sent out?
Yeah.
And because of the time it takes to come back, is it any good unless it's frozen?
Yeah.
This is dangerous stuff. And when it comes to fruits and vegetables, you know, the consequence is that the European suppliers, I spoke about this, are finding other ways to sell the stuff into Europe. So the cost of living in Europe will come down. Inflation in Europe will come down.
Yeah.
Whereas they'll no want to go through all the hoops it takes to bring the stuff here. So the amount of that commodity coming in with the supermarkets will shrink. And then we've just spoke about local farmers, UK-based food producers, downscaling by 20% and then a further 20% because they can't get the stuff back out the ground. Mm-hmm. We're looking at a food security disaster coming down the line. You know.
Billy Holland says, check your chicken breasts. They have veins. They have veins now. Lab-grown meat.
Yeah. But as I say, this is serious stuff. Now, let's move on because we've only got a few minutes left. So we see the Bank of England are up to their stupidity again. So we've got another maybe 100,000 people going homeless this week.
Up to 5.25%. I never thought I'd see that. Seriously.
Well, actually, David, you and I, when it settled down in the 90s after the carry on in the 80s, you know, it settled down about 4.5%, you know. So it was only because of quantities that we had it come down to zero, really. Yeah. And now it's coming back to bite us in the bum, you know. And we can blame that in bad economic markets, things like tremors in the gilts markets, tremors in the bond markets, tremors in the commodity markets, tremors in the futures markets, tremors in the energy markets. You can see these shocks coming from everywhere. But they didn't try to blame it on a global pandemic. They did try to blame it on a smallish war in Ukraine. This biggest war's going right across the continent of Africa. Jesus Christ. Nigeria just went up in flames.
Yeah.
No, the reason why inflationary pressure is so high in the UK, and will go back up again, is because of stupid and bad economic management.
Yeah, well, the Bank of England board, who actually vote on this stuff, right? Surely they are aware that what they are doing is putting extra inflationary pressure on people who have mortgages that are, you know, they're tracker mortgages. They don't have a fixed rate. And there's people that are finishing tracker mortgages. I've got a relative of mine is actually finishing a tracker mortgage and is hunting around as quick as they can to try and find a fixed rate, right? But they're going to end up paying a fortune more because of the Bank of England's effect.
It doesn't affect David. It doesn't affect them. They don't give a shit. They knowingly put that interest. No, David, listen to the logic and let me finish this. They moved on the interest rate yesterday, knowing it was going to pull more money out of the economy, give the banks free money to bolster their accounts, because they're trying to create a recession. Short term, they're hoping, in order to bring this inflation under control.
Yeah.
But we've just spoke about Brexit checks, which are going to bring in inflationary pressure We're talking about the breakdown of our food supply chains, which is going to bring in. Do these fucking idiots not know we live in an island? But I have never seen such bad economic management in all my years. If I ran my household expenses the way these idiots run the economy, I guess you and I'd be living under a fucking tree. Wow. Sorry, David. Rant over. But they just put 100,000 people out in the street. Well, on the bright side, they've got 12 months stay of execution because the Chancellor negotiated it for them. So the banks don't really want your house right now, so they let you live in it rent free for a year and then put you, provided economic circumstances are better.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, yeah, we've seen in London the headline.
Right?
Yeah, you've seen in London the headlines about rental for a month, $2,500, right? And this, you can imagine that if people are buying houses to rent out, then what they're going to do is, if the price of their mortgage goes up the way, the buy-to-let mortgage goes up the way, then they're going to raise the rental of that flat. We've seen London in this situation time after time after time. And if you imagine, London relies upon the little people that rent to actually, hang on, David, right? To do the cleaning, do the nurses, all the rest of it. You can go right through all the people that aren't the millionaires. And it's it's the ones that have got the big houses that need all these various services. They're going to be stuffed. They're not going to get them.
But as I say, what happens here is this is a housing bubble cycle coming to a head here. Because people are losing their homes, but there's nobody got any money to buy the homes. So what happens is the price collapses, you know, and the cycle starts again as the economy recovers, you know. Yeah, as you say, it's a bit like it's like Einstein said, you know, doing the same thing repeatedly, expecting a different outcome is fucking madness.
Yeah. As you say, the thing about people losing their homes, if enough people lose their homes, then the bottom falls out of any market, the housing market, and the house prices just collapse.
So the people who really make money out of this stuff, the people with the big houses you're talking about, the landowners and things like that, they can sit it out.
Yeah.
They can even buy up this stuff cheap and wait until the market improves and sell it on at a better price. You know, it's just the cycle.
Yeah.
People seem to have short memories.
Yeah.
How many bloody economic downturns have we been through now? Well, since I've been alive, I think we're on the fifth or something like that. And I'm only 55. Mental. Hi, Anthony. Right,
final thing I want to get in before we go is the new Scottish funding model agreed with the UK Treasury. What do you say to that, David? Because you had a chance to actually read that last night. So
a wee bit more flexibility and borrowing powers, a wee bit ability to draw down on the reserves that the Scottish Government will go to keep, and any underspend that's rolled out can be used. And they've decided that in future the Scottish budget will be protected from inflationary pressures. Mm-hmm. Right. And there's another few wee tweaks in there and all, but what do you think about it? I'm going to say this with absolute truth. I don't want more crumbs to Westminster's table. I want the whole fucking pie. Yeah. Westminster's had enough for my table. Mm-hmm. It's time my children get out of poverty. The bloody idioticness doing that road. If England don't get a grip of this lot and boot them up with Jacksie and get their exceptional arses out of power and put real people into power who are going to find progressive policies for the benefit of the people, like we do here in Scotland, with our better social contract, our better NHS, our free funding for medicine at the point of need. So that means they prescription charges, they dental charges, all that sort of thing. Yeah. The baby box. The child credit uplift. 25 quid for each qualified child up to the age of 18 and data. What's been supplied for that miserable mob that runs unemployment benefit down that road and puts people into poverty. Free travel for the 12 to 23-year-olds. Free travel for the 60-year-olds. No bridge tolls, no road tolls. Fairer rail funding. Public-owned railway. Our mistakes are minuscule compared to the mistakes. But what's the real problem is they muppets down the road are actually running the economy. See, when you talk about the Scottish economy, we don't have any fiscal weavers up here. But what England needs today is start voting for people who are going to actually put the people first. Primary duty of government. Protect the people.
There's nobody. Simple as that. You look about the House of Commons and you get the ones that you can vote for. I mean, the SNP you can't vote for in England, right? They've got nobody.
So what do you think of the fiscal funding? They can stick their fiscal funding. And I heard Jack yesterday, or was it this morning, saying, union dividend for Scotland, we're giving you a wee bit more of your own fucking money back.
That's right.
The absolute gall of it.
Yeah.
Here, Scotland, there's a wee bauble. Settle for the bauble while we rape you your resources.
Yeah.
So what do you think of the fiscal framework? Stick it up there, Jacksie, Westminster. We're taking it all back anyway. No matter how hard you fight. Our children want it. If we don't get it for them, they'll take it them fucking selves. So you get that wrapped around your head down that road. And I don't mean the English people, David, you know that.
Yeah.
I don't mean the English people. I mean that shower of shite that they vote for. The elite, the state, we're coming for you and we're taking back what's ours.
Yeah. Good.
Anyway, that's 3 rants in a row today, guys. You've done well.
I'm going to say the obvious. Jacobite McLaughlin. Come on.
Right. Yeah, you're right. I just need to let steam off now and again, but it's all true. These people down there keep voting for people that are no in their interests. There is a political elite down there that runs alongside their class system, and it's mental. It's absolutely mental. You know, Daily Blasey, Davey, can you start at number 10 tomorrow? I'd love to
bug it off. Go ahead.
I'd love to have a chat with you. I'd love to come on with you live with you in Daily Blasey and actually talk about the social contract that the people of Scotland have with their government compared to the social contract that the people of England have with their government. This includes things like the 2012 Health and Social Care Act, where the new government actually isn't responsible for your health anymore. It's mental. You need to start voting for people who are going to do things in your interest. But I suppose we can round it up on that rant, you know. And I'm sorry, YouTubers, if you're no used to this sort of thing, but Davey used to do this sort of thing when stupidity was at the forefront of what was going on. And to be honest, for the last 13 years, Davey's been ranting a lot.
What we're doing is we're going to open up a crowdfunder for Valium for Mr. McGinnis.
I know you don't. No drugs, thank you. And I don't need the nurse. The reason why I rant is I can get it out of my system and then I can just breathe.
As I keep saying to people, I don't need to do drugs. I just need to stand up quickly.
You get dizzy. It's a blood rushes from your head to your feet. Hey, you're a bit into drug there the other day, boy. Right, I suppose I really, really do want to thank everybody today for the super chats. And as I say, we really do have to get onto other platforms in England so that we can start telling them the difference in the social contract, so that they can start demanding it for themselves. You know, it's really important. Mr. E, that's really, really generous. £10 a rant, I'll put that on.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I'll just stand back and I'll let you rant for the entire programme. How's about that?
No. When I really need to get something off, Davey, I'll jump on and I'll do a special because this is a topical chat show, you know. But as we get further into this, we might have to start on single issue programs, David.
I'm still convinced that wee boy that says we've all been moved to another
David, I'm not going down that rabbit hole with you, you're not Joe. The head-on collider. I'm not going down that. But
he put up good evidence for it. He says, does anybody remember the Monopoly box where the wee guy's got a monocle? No, they don't. Because you look at Monopoly now, he's not got the monocle. There you go.
Aye, and I see the conches went missing through the fruit of the room and all, and they're denying it was ever there. Right, no. Come on. Thanks everybody for your kind donations. Really, it is. We're speechless. What can we say? You guys are so generous, and we'll get the money out to where it's needed ASAP.
The ones we've done we did West Lothian. And Patrick food parcels, did Pollock food bank. The next one I'm going to do is Drumchapel. But David's lined up a load on the East Coast, so that's good. Okay.
It's only fair that we spread it around. Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, the big cities will be greater needs, but it's still better that we spread it around because there's still people out in places like here, the village I'm in. The food banks are here twice a week.
Yeah.
You know, people are going to food kitchens here twice a week, actually.
Yeah.
So
it's an awful thing to think that there are more food banks in the United Kingdom than there are branches of McDonald's. Come on.
Right, we better wind this up, David. I'm going to go to work, but I want to thank everybody, and we are really, really gobsmacked at your generosity. And as I say, as the revenue comes in, it'll go as quick as it comes in. Your super chat, they come to us from YouTube and Google, and the donations you make straight to the bank account. We will get them as it comes in. It will go out because we realise how really important that is.
Are you going to talk me back in as I come back up the road from that place in the nether regions of the United Kingdom?
Aye, I probably will. Aye.
Yeah, because I reckon I'll be setting off from Bristol at round about 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. So that'll be a good chat we'll have. Eh?
Aye, that'll last to midnight, you bum. Right. So need to wind this one up. Now, if you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and share across your social media platform, please. If you're on Facebook, it's already been made public, so you can share away, hit the like button. Thank you, and thank you very much. Now, all that's left to say really is bye, Davey.
From another parallel universe. Bye, Davey.
Bye, folks.
Bye, guys.